Hi all, welcome back, another little video. Something slightly different again. I'm going to make this basically a sky painting. So I'm going to make me horizon line somewhere down here. And we'll do it an old Norfolk scene again. Tribute to me, the old legend, seagull. But all this building and stuff will play second fiddle. Probably messing about too much there to begin with, because I won't follow these lines that I'm doing. Not much anyway. Just look for, was there something there? Probably something similar to the painting I put on, I think it was last week, or whatever. That's my drawing done. Usual palette, 5 colours: cobalt, French ultramarine, brown madder, yellow ochre and turquoise. And all these bits like that's raw ochre. And I think that's burnt umber, but that's how long I've not used them for. But you still use them. No, back the app like a what do you call them, pan paint thing. So you never clean my palette thoroughly. But I've got a big brush I use. I do like using this, but it does make a mess. Hopefully not on the paper. It splashes about a lot. So you're okay if you're in a studio, but I'm in my front room in my flat. So anyway. So let's just get some nice yellow. Don't want this to dry. So even at this stage get a bit of water in. I normally have some dried up colours in my palette that I use, but I did a little sketch yesterday just using Payne's Grey, and I never use it, but it's sort of stained my palette, so I've just gone into my 2 blues, back into my yellow ochre. Just thought of something what I will do with these houses in a minute, but we need to get the sky down quite quickly. Not very quickly. Just don't want it dry. And what I do, most of them, if you have a slightly bluer side, let all this drip and paint itself. A bit red that. What did it that? Oop, I haven't mixed that paint properly. I've gone a bit too crazy over there, but doesn't matter a jot. Yeah, you have sort of one red side. So I made that, I don't know, it's more purpley than it was. I'll just make this side a bit redder. That's just a bit too red. This middle bit, just where all the light is. I just don't want that drying. Even at this early stage, I'm spending too much time on the sky. Right, go back into that yellow ochre with the colours that I've just mixed, which will be like a dirty yellow. You see that's kind of painting itself now, but we'll go back into this one. That is my horizon line, broken edge. Just leave that to dry off slightly. And here, right, I think I've got some burnt sienna somewhere. Oh no, it's brown matter. If you use like a brown, or raw umber, a brown and a blue, I've got some raw umber. This is how I make my greys, but you make these out of your free primaries. Mix your free primaries together, you get a grey. So I've got the purple there, and if I add, because opposite the purple is like a yellow, so I haven't even gone into that raw umber. I've got a pill of it there. Show. I haven't even gone into that raw umber. Purple and yellow. I've got colour wheel. It's like a purpley violet in colour, and opposite that is your yellow. You mix them together, you get some sort of grey. Same as green and white, green and red. They're complementary. Mix them together, you get a grey, or some sort of grey. I just play with that a bit. I break that into a little path. That's drying off nice. We'll get some, just some suggestion of background, because all this is wet. You need to apply your paint a bit thicker now. That's too thick. Too thin, sorry. Right, I'm going to get some turquoisey, turquoise, and now just add it to the mix that we had before, the cobalt, the ultramarine, the red, more turquoisey. Then this might not work, but like a big cloud at the bottom. A bit more green, I think. This brush is probably a bit too small. A bit grey, I wouldn't mind that being a bit greener. Yeah, green clouds, why not? It's a bit it's not mixed too well. Oh well, it'll mix on the paper. Not to worry. That'll keep going lighter, so we'll probably still going back into that with thicker paint at the bottom. So it's still drying. Now we've got this colour, suggestion of something. And just play about with this foreground. Might get that raw number. I'll change that road, that path into something else. I'll leave those white bits. Important them. Ah, that's what I was going to do. forgot about that. Just do a little base wash for these buildings. I'll let all this dry. I think I'm a bit late with this, so I forgot about it. So if we just do these buildings with a warm colour. So these buildings are second fiddle to the sky anyway on this, so it doesn't really matter, because I've said in one of my other videos, these buildings are going to, what, about a fifth of the painting, if that. I might leave a bit of light. This will dry a lot lighter. I mean, architecture's appalling on that. Said before, that house looked like I built it, but that's a bit dark. But let's just play it by ear. Not play it by eye. I think that's a bit too far. That's why. So I've something here. That's too fat, that chimney. Messed about too much again. Leave it, Stephen. Right, now we're in. Just letting it dry stage. So I might as well turn this camera off now, because I've said before it'd be like watching paint dry. I know what I'm going to do just before I go. Quick wash there. Let that come down into the foreground. Wouldn't mind preserving some of that white, but you can't when you do stuff like that. Bit of tissue. Got those lovely edges. And leave it to dry. I might just flick some paint into places, thicker paint when it's drying a bit, but I might not. I'll be back in a bit. Yeah. Right, we've been drying about 10 minutes or so. I use these brushes a lot. These are my Chinese calligraphy brushes. This one, before last thing I do, I might dip that around some spare moisture in my palette and just leave it to dry. And it dries like that. And I'll use that for my tree brush in a minute, hopefully. And as I'm looking where this is drying now, that's got like a run back that's come up. Totally accidental. Well, it's painted itself, so I'm going to use that and paint round that to make that into a little roof, I think. And paint round negative painting. So if I start off with that brush and just get some thick paint of the same colours we've been using, and that's probably not enough on that. So I'll just get random marks in. And I might get a little flat brush. No, persevere with that. I want to just get some dark colour now, blues and reds. And just trying to work this out. If I go somewhere, oops, no, it's on a chimney. Sorry I'm in the way, but oops. See where that run back's gone, make that into Leave that now, that bottom bit. Oop, that's still a bit wet, my hand's getting. So if we paint around that, and the building in the background, just add a bit of colour. Window or something. That's going to be that. I think. I hope I'm not in the way, sorry. This is just a dark mix of all the other colours I've been using. So it's all that tone. And this is just me what do I do there? You go dark, light, light, dark. So I'll give that chimney as if it's coming from this one, this front building, and just colour that in. And if your leaf fits, better still. So we'll come back to that in a minute. That's a bit wonky. This main building, I think that should. See, that bottom bit is still a bit damp, so that's going to paint back into it. I think I'll have to go dark. I don't know, leave it light at the moment. And here we go with the. It's still not totally dry. It's getting me down. That was a lot drier than what it is. But we just go down to there. I think that should go a bit better, a bit down a bit. Yeah. And that needs a bit. Just see things when we're painting. Don't want to go too wide with that. So if we go dark. This is somewhat similar to the one I did. I painted the other day. Well, there's nothing up with that. Painting around things. No, we use these as nothing else for that exercise. Well, yeah, exercises for demos and things. Oops, might be a bit too much there. No, I think we'll leave a little gap there. Just emphasise a bit of light coming onto that. I know this. Negative. Painting round things. And we're moving along. See, I'm left-handed, so I go from right. Yeah. Right to left, so I'm not getting in my way. I've got a different colour there that's just a bit bluer because it's further away. This one here. Smaller because it's further away. And just block that in, but leave a little window. Or a big window. Don't worry about that a little bit. Always have a towel handy. I paint a lot with the towel. Lifting out and leaving paint about. And just stand back, reassess it every now and then. Oops. We painted the window on. And don't leave that bit white. Light I should say. Bit of fresh water on there. That's gone a bit flat, that tree thing I was going to put in. Still with that dodgy brush. That's where it can become something that I like. Just a bit green, that door. So make it a bit bluer. Not the door, the chimney. A bit darker. Bottom. That's better. I've said before, quite quickly, just some bits running down into that. And a bit of fingers. And this is all the colours we've been using. A lot of this is like a dark green. It's more about tone than colour. Bit of black light there. And then a little chimney. Yeah. Got blue now. Some distant blue there. That's it. So you don't ask me what that is. And this is where I do need me dodgy brush. Just check we're still filming. Too red. Something. Well, it's a bit. Oops. Good. No, don't like it. Bit too pronounced. Right. Really don't like that. Let's pull out. I'll try and get a clean tissue. Better. Right, thick paint time. Comes on without an angle. These suggesting buildings in the background. And I'm going to go really dark. I'm talking about that green. green. Just paint the top bit. So we're going dark into light, well, lighter. Hopefully this bottom bit is still quite damp. Separation in them two pots. What's that? Yeah, just let that do its thing. I think I will get some of my lavender. Here's where I do venture outside the 5 colours. I have a little tube of lavender and a little tube of white. And once I get to this stage, I know I'm not far from the end of the painting. So I'll get some straight out of the tube basically. Just adds a bit of colour. Well, it's wet. We'll add a bit more dark to this. Make it stand out a bit more. So now I'll get a dry brush. A small dry brush. He says. For these marks here where they're seeping in, lovely. I know I'm just going to go over one. I wasn't expecting that colour on the brush. Now that colour is on the brush. Keep it on the brush. Doesn't need much more. I think I'll let it dry again and then I'll put some life into it. Some people, some cattle. That's all it needs. I'll just let it dry a little bit, minute. But I do want sharp edges for this cattle. Just put a little there. And while we're here, there we go. Paint with your fingers and tissues, and don't be afraid to let anything paint itself. Getting carried away again. Just spray that around. See how bits. I don't think that was required. Oh, not to that extent. But I shall go back into my lavender again now that I put out. Now we'll leave this to dry. Well, I'll get me decide whether to put some life into it. Be back in a bit. I'll be back. We're not really dry, but I do want to add bits in while it's still drying. Where the darks meet in the light and it's still wet. I just want to put some. Probably put window in there or something. Just to emphasise that fat. Right, so I'll just go straight into me. Into my cows. On my life, whatever, might put some people in. Don't put many people in my paintings, should do really. Dark, so I'm just mixing my primaries. And for cattle or people, as it's going away from your highline, just basically need blobs. You don't need detail on any of these. And while we've got this dark, that's looking, I like that dark light bit here. Don't go too mad with it. So I'll put this chap around here. Do a sort of a square, which is the back of that quarters of the said beast. And then if you leave a gap, which we'll put white in a moment, get a sharp the pointy brush. There's it. Just colour him in. No, for some reason I don't like that. Make it a bit bigger. Make the angle a bit even here. And then just some suggestion of shadow. So I'm going to come back in my white in a moment. But I think that'll do for the cattle. Don't go too mad with them, but I always just do one with some sort of suggestive detailing. So we changed, not change, I use a little just brush and then go back into my lavender while these bits are still wet. Suggestions of blue chickens, if there is such a thing. And all my 5 colours at one stage of this painting will be spattered across this painting. I go straight into my tube of white now. Just oops. No. So you can go too mad with this white, so don't. Straight into the tube. Just bits on these, not much. Especially them that are further away. Brush is a bit wet. The white paint's got a bit of water in it. Need it thick. To do what we want to do here. So, try it now. Just one little stroke down the centre. So you can do this with a white pen also. We just some white cattle as well. and bits that just don't go too much, but when we started off we left a line on the horizon, lower line, because I said we were going to have a big sky. Just put bits, like chickens and sheep or anything. I'll let that dry again and go back and come back into it when it's totally dry, but I'll do literally nothing. I'll probably just sit. Took a little white pen and just dabble after it. I won't need it, but it won't be noticeable, so I don't know why I do it, but it makes me feel happy, I suppose. No, see, it's very similar to the painting I put up last week, I think it was, or this week, whichever day it is. Oops. But there's more sky in this one. And I always take the tape off, so it sort of frames it. I've got like a oblong cloud in that sky, which, if anybody asked, it's a paraglider. I don't really like getting. Oops! Somebody's just texted me. You're watching the video, slating it, I suppose. Oh dear me. Yeah, just and come back and just have a look. There's things up. It is a bit wonky, but it's a similar one to my last one, but a few different techniques in there, and it's another different way of looking at the same scene. So I really like it all. Just have a little go. So it's basically a sky painting, all sky was all done in one. So thanks all. Bye.